Hi, this is Dr. Taheri. Welcome to Excel Power Workshop. The incentives of this workshop is to make you more familiar with Excel functionalities. We go through several examples, and I really hope that this workshop will be beneficial. Now, let me start by saying that if you use Excel, and the reason that you're using Excel is just to do some advanced plotting, maybe Excel is not the best software you have access to it. There are other softwares, for example, Sigma Plot, are much more sophisticated if the sole intention and purpose of using it is to plot scientific graphs. However, Excel, on the other hand, offers much more than only plotting. Excel is a very sophisticated spreadsheet. Let's start with a few basic functionality in Excel. Let's just start by example number one. Before I go through the example, I mentioned that what first of all you need to know is when you're in Excel, you go to Home, and then you go to Format. This is very important because you define the format of your cell. Imagining I'm selecting this cells, and I go and I select the format, and format of my cell, it's perhaps date, and this is the format of the date, and I put it here. Now if I put here 23, right away it put the date as 23rd of January of 00. I put this number here, so it would be from that day 9,000 some days going, and it's going to be the 2nd of the 8th month, August of 2018. Now you can change this format easily. You go to Format here, Cell, and then perhaps you want to have a general or number. In the number you have decimal, so in that case you can decide how many decimals you have. So if you want to have, for example, 4 decimals, and this is how it goes. Now here also you can use with this 2 buttons here. If I actually magnify it a little bit, let's go here. So with these 2 here, so you can increase or reduce the number of the decimals. There are other functions later on we use, rounding, and we will tell the difference. So number one, you have to define your cell. And by the way, if your cell is way too small, the width of that, you will see you get this kind of perhaps some pound signs. All you need to do is you either extend it or you simply double click and it brings it to the right size. Let us start with this simple example, and let me delete these ones. So imagining that I have certain items, and these are the initial costs, and I want to make 12% profit on each item. So therefore the price I sell these items is equal to the initial price multiplied by 1 plus, and instead of 12% I put a variable which is right here. And as you can see, I'm missing a sign here. So it's 25 plus 12% of $25, which is $3, and the answer is 28. And of course the profit here simply is equal to, I can write just a simple equation, this value minus this value, which is equal to $3. Now the fact that I use Excel, one of the reasons is I simply don't want to continue doing this for next one. I want to just to be able to manipulate exact same thing, and for that reason I can select these 2, and right away if I maybe increase the magnification of the screen, you see here, as soon as I select here, you will see the kind of square shape here in the right bottom corner. I can drag this, and by dragging this, the entire calculation would be manipulated. However, ironically, I won't get the right answer, because as you can see here, for the next one, everything is going to be the same. The sold and the initial cost is going to be the same. What actually Excel does is simply, uh, for the first one, it goes and calculates this uh, value 28 by this function B3, which is 25 multiplied by 1 plus J3. For the next one, it does 27.5 multiplied by 1 plus J4, and obviously there's nothing in cell J4 here. That's why I won't get the answer. So in that case, if I want to do it correctly, I have to extend this as well, and in that case you can see everything is correct. But now, is there another function that we can use in order to manipulate it without any problem? The answer is yes, and that's what the reference function is about. So in this particular case, instead of using J3, if I want to lock this cell, so I use J3 $J $3. It means the row and column, both of them are fixed, and for the any other rows that I want to do this calculation, I refer to this particular value. And here, if I simply drag these two, the answer is similar to what we have. So again, I repeat here. So what I need to do here, instead of J3, I use $J $3. And the easier way is you select it here, and then you can press F4 key. F4 key makes both of them for the first time. The next one, it only does the row, and for the next one it does the column, and the last time it removes it. So we have 4 times you can press. First time it does both, second time it does one, third time it does the next one, and the last time you press F4 it removes it. So you see, for both of them, for 3, which is the row, for the column, and for none of them. In this case we use for both of them. That's a kind of hotkey used in Excel. So, and of course, if you have different values for different items, so I just put here, for example, 15%, oh sorry, I put here 0.14 and 0.2 and 0.3 and 0.23 and 0.5, 0.11. So if I want, for each item I have different perhaps margin, so in that case I do have to again remove this, and I press F4 3 times, and now for the next one, when I calculate it, it's all going to be different, because for example this particular one, so for this item, so it uses the margin of 50%, and as you can see, it's going to be this value multiplied by 1.5, and this is the profit. So this shows how you use the reference, and how you can refer all your calculation to one particular. And I can change this one, for example, and as soon as I change, you can see the first item is changed. Moreover, Excel, I don't know if you have used it before or not, but Excel also can be used to converting various units. So unit of length, time, pressure, force, and so on. And actually it is very sophisticated in that sense. So the format you're using is this format, and as you can see here, so you have using convert a number from a unit to a unit, and you use comma for separating them. Now these are actually some among many units that you can use. For example, for distance, you can use from meter to any of them, unit of liquid, temperature unit, you have time unit, you have weight unit, and you have other ones. So let's just practice a couple of them. So let's just go here, and what I have here, I have 400, and I want to convert this from teaspoon to cup. So all I do here, as I have already printed here, so I say convert. So convert the value of B2, which is, you can see here, this is B22, this right here, B22, which is this value here, from teaspoon. It has to be written exactly the same as the command, so quotation TSP quotation, comma to cup, and by pressing that, this is the value here. Now if I want to convert, for example, here I write equal to convert, and the right comes here, convert this value plus from F Fahrenheit to C, and the answer, as you can see here, is 211 degree Fahrenheit is roughly about 100 degree Celsius. So from Newton to pound, so you write exactly here, convert the value here is B24, so B24 plus comma from Newton to pound force, LBF, and this is the answer. And the next one is from day to seconds. So see, when you go here, day and seconds, both of them are small letters. So I simply go here and I say here convert B25 from day to second, and of course 1 day is 86,400 seconds. You can use this as you wish, so this is also comes very handy. Now I will have exercise number 2 here, just in continuation of the conversion. So those are familiar with sheet metal, you know that the sheet metal going by gauges, and the smaller the gauges is, the thicker the thickness of the sheet is. So I have gauge 3 to gauge 18. These are the thickness in inch, and I want to convert it to a millimeter, and I use here convert this value from inch to millimeter, and this is the answer. And I mentioned that you can drag it, or if this column is already been filled, you just double click and it automatically drag it until the next filled column. That comes handy because if you have tens of thousands of lines, and then you don't know how far you go, it takes forever, so you just double click and it goes right onto to the same row as the left column, which is filled with a number. Now I'm going to use another function here, and I use here function round. I can round up, down, or just round this value, and I do with 2 decimal. So rounded 2 decimal, and here is the value. I want to use 1 decimal, I simply go here and I do 1 here, and here what I have. And now just want to show you the difference between the rounding and the formatting here. So in this particular case, If I reduce the number of the decimal in this particular one, so and I go here, select here, and I want to have less decimals here, even for this one here, okay. And as you can see, these numbers look the same. However, in terms of the actual values, they are different. Now, if I have here, this is equal to this divided by 10, you can see the values already comes here. It's all the decimals. But if I use this divided by 10, you can see the value is 6.1 divided by 10, not in this case 6.1, but 6.1 with all the decimals. So it depends on what you want to do. If you want to really truncate and get rid of it in the calculation as well as on the sheet, then you use round. But if you don't want to see it on the sheet, it takes too much space, but you want to have it on the calculation, then in that case you're using the number of the allowed decimal. So let me just go back here and I increase the number here, and in this case, if I do that the same, I can see that only the zeros is being added here. So this is the usage of rounding. Let's go to another example, and this example actually it's good when you are having in a spreadsheet and you want to actually find a value, you want to count if, sum if, and actually the if statement. And let me just go to the Excel, the PowerPoint, and this is an example I have here. So I have certain representatives. These are the sales rep in my company, for example, and these are the months, January and February, 2 months, and these are the amount of the sale being closed by these reps. So I'm going to use the values of sum. So this is very easy. I'm sure you have done that. Let me go here. So if you want to add something together, obviously the total is the sum here. So I write here, this is equal to the sum of from here to here, and that's the value. By the way, I selected this as a currency, and that's why you see all the money. So I use the average. It's very simple function of average from here to here, and then now I want to know actually how many sales has been closed. In that case, I use a function called count. I count the number of the values, numeric values, from C3 to C13, and obviously there are 11 numbers. Now there is another function is called count if, and the count if, it says count if from A3 to A13, which means the number of the rep, if the name is Jones, and by the way, you can see that I wrote it the capital and the small j, and this is not case sensitive. If this is exactly Jones, not other names, then count it for me. And this particular case, I have 3 cells to be closed by this representative. The last name is Jones, and the answer is 3. Now, if I want to know how much is the total cells closed by Jones, then in that case I use another function, and that function is called sum if. So sum if, maybe I close it here and I write it one more time. So let me just go here. So I wrote here sum if equal to sum if. So sum if from here to here. So this comma is Jones, comma, if this is Jones, then add these values here, the value of the sale. And the answer, as you can see, is 675. So you can see Mr. Jones or Mr. Jones. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So 100 plus 225 plus 350 will be 675. You can do the same thing for Rogers. So simply I write it here again. Sum if from here to here is Rogers. Then you add this. And this is what I get here. I can do the same thing for month of January. So count if the number of the cells of month of January, and then how much is the total of the month of January and the cell of February. Now in count if you can also add other statements. So for example, count if from C3 to C13, and how many of these cells are over 1,000. As you can see here, this is what I wrote here. Count if from here to down here, if the value of the cell is larger than 1,000. I can reduce this number from 1,000 to 500, and of course by doing that, it used to be 1 and now is 4. Okay, so now it's 4. And I can use, for example, again the same thing, what is the low value or high value, and then we do maximum and minimum. Obviously I want to know what is the maximum value of this row and what is the minimum value minimum of this value. And then of course I can see here what is above average or below average. Let me just open one more file here, and I open this one here. And for example, now the average of sale here is equal to average of this. If I want to see how many of above and below average, then I use this function here. Count if from C2 to C12 is larger than, and because the average is already a calculated value, then I put $sign C15, which is the average. Or I could have put here simply the average. So I can put here the average, but this is easier. And finally, I use the if statement in a logical if statement. And in the if statement says if the sum of C2 to C12, total sum, is more than 5,000, which is this case, right? Great. If not, then not so good. And in this particular case, is great. If I change this one to 200, obviously the cells comes below 5,000, and here it writes not so good. So let's go back here to what value I had before. So this is again the if statement. You say if, you have if one logical statement. If this is correct, it's going to be the next. If it's not correct, it's going to be the second next. Now let's just continue by another example. And in this example, we're using the use of the VLOOK and HLOOK. VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP is our horizontal and vertical. In this example, actually what I have here is the name of employees. A group of people are working in a company, and then they have the hourly rate, and this is overtime, so 1.5, and this is an Excel sheet. So bear in mind, with Excel you can actually create an accounting software by itself. So if you have all the employees and their hourly wage in one sheet, and then in another sheet which is connected perhaps with the employee card, when they go in and out, they just slide the card, and this shows how many hours they worked. So we can connect them together. So how much we have to pay them. However, before this, if I have the number of the hours, somehow I need to go for this person, Paul. I have to know what is his hourly rate. And in that case, obviously, I have to go to another file, either another file or in the same file, another worksheet, and I would like to see where the Paul is here in this case. So this is what I do. I simply go here and I write here equal to VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP for this person, comma, in this sheet, and I look here, comma, and I want the second column number 2, because this is the wage, 2, comma, and then I have approximate or exact value. I bring the false, which is exact value, and you can see it brings me 32. So I repeat again what I did. So I said that VLOOKUP, go and vertically look up for this person, first one, Paul, where the location is here in another Excel, in the same file, another sheet, and here is that sheet. And then of course in that sheet I go and I say from here, from A2 to C9, and then of course if you find Paul, then bring back the value of the second column. I can, instead of second, I can write here third, and in this case obviously it's going to bring 48, but it's not what I need, so I bring the second. So if I continue doing the same thing, so I go here and I bring it here, and of course you can see that there are 3 of them are not valid, because of course Robin Evans, we don't have any Robin Evans here. That's why of course it shows there is, perhaps he or she works for another department, and the names of entire perhaps companies here, but in our department he or she is not working. That's why I don't have the hourly wage for that person. And then in this case here, now I can write a number of the how much we have to pay, number of the hours multiplied by the hourly wage, and then I can simply drag it, and this is the value. So this is the application of VLOOK. And give another example here, a simple example. So in this case, as you can see here, so the bank defines the interest based on your balance from $0 to $1,000. You have 2%. From 1,000 to 5,000, you have 3%. From 5 to 20, you have 4, and more than 20, you get 5% interest. And these are the bank accounts. And you want to know what are the interest rate. So in that case, I write here again VLOOKUP for this balance in this sheet. And by the way, here now, because this is constant, I have to use F4. So it has to be perfect, because this is the entire. So previously I didn't have to, because I can add more names, but here this is the exact. So the interest, comma, and then of course the interest was the second, and in this case I don't need to have exact, because the balance could be between 2 values. I use true, and here I close, Let me see, something went wrong. Okay, here I need actually the third. I have to bring the third row, and here is actually I wrote the second here. So instead of 2, I put 3 here. So the third, sorry, column. And here, and then I drag it down here, and this is exactly correct. So for this one, for example, check the balance. Balance is $2,450. Go back to this. 2,450 stands between these two values, from 1,000 to 5,000, and then bring the interest rate of, which is the third column here. So this is how you use VLOOKUP. How about HLOOKUP here? That's another example. It's a kind of interesting example. So imagine I have just scroll it down here. I have certain subjects: math, French, physics, and biology. And just give some marks here. 56, 89, 76, 77, 79. So these are the marks for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students. So the objective is, now I go and I find all the marks for Ed, for example. So this is the students, and let me just bring this one here up here, and let's bring the Ed here. Okay, so I want to know from this format here I want to get marks for Ed. So in this particular case, obviously I have to go and look horizontally for these values. And for the biology, for example, I write here HLOOKUP. HLOOKUP, look for this name, comma, and everything is in the same sheet. So I go and I select here, comma, and bring the value for biology, which is here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, comma, and you need the exact value, and it's 77%. So let's see, Ed got 77% in biology. So if I want to do this for example, for physics, so I do the same thing here. So look for B11, and in this particular case, in this one here, I change this, correct, and here the biology was number 7, number here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here I put 5. Let's see what's gone wrong. Let's write these things again. So go here and look in here, comma, and I need number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, comma, and I need the true value. And for some reason again it doesn't give me, so let's see, B11, A2 to F7, that's correct. And the fifth value, let's see what that's kind of strange. Oh, because okay, now because I did that before, I should have done that. So let's just do it again here. This is equal to HLOOKUP, look for Ed in this range, bring the fifth one, and I want the exact match, and it's 61%. For the next one, for French, HLOOK for this person, and among these numbers bring me the French is number 1, 2, 3, 4, and I put the exact match. And as you can see, we continue here. For here is H look. For the add, look for add in this series and bring the number third one, which is the math, and I need the exact value. And here I can use, for example, and let's see if I extend it. I'm not sure it works or not, but let's see. No, it doesn't work. You have to do it one by one in this particular case because it's all different. So in this case, I put here VLOOK, sorry, H lookup, look for n in this range, and for example, here is biology, so number 6 again, and you need the exact value, and is 56. So obviously, and got 56 in biology, and so on. So this is the application of these two. Now let's have another explore another interesting option in Excel. So sometimes you perhaps can type whatever you want, but sometimes you want your selection in that particular cell should be from a list. So in this particular case, I have a name of employees here. I have the level that they are working, and for each level I have some tax bracket. And when I want to select here for the employees, I want, when I open it, it only gives me the name of the employees. So let me just delete them, and so maybe I start here. I put the name of the employee. So what I do basically here in this range, I go and I select, then I go to data, and in data I go to data validation. Here I go and I select from the list, and here my list is here. I select my list, close it here, okay, and you can simply, if I put here, it gives me the name of these employees, which is here. Let's do another one. I use level, and again I select here, go to data validation, here I select from a list, and I go here, and this is my list, these three, I select here, okay, and you see I have 1, 2, 3. And finally, tax is a tax bracket. I believe there was another option. You can use this here, and then you go and type here tax, this is the name, and then you go to data validation here, data validation list, you go to list and press F3, and F3 bring you the whatever is available, and I say tax, and okay. So this particular case, actually, because I didn't define it before, it didn't work so well. So I should define this here like this, yes, and I call this, let's just call it array, for example, and then I select here in data validation, go here, go to data validation and select the list, and select here, and select here F3, put array, and hopefully this time works. Let's see. Yeah, it does. So you can there's two ways of doing it. The first method was easier, so I show you the second method one more time here. Like if I want to go to level, so what I do, I go and select here these items, I give a name to it, I give a test name, test1 name, this is the name of this fields, and then I want here the level to be one of them. So simply I go here and I go to data validation, not any, I want to select it from a list, and here I could have chosen these three, which I did last time, or I press F3 and bring me the list of whatever is already been defined. I defined many of them before, but now I put test1 and OK and OK, and then here you can see that this is the level. So this gives you actually a freedom of choosing from a list, not anything you want, and it comes very handy. I use this function very often when I teach multi-criteria decision making, and then you have a certain criteria, and then you can rank them. A couple of simple basically function, choose and match. So like for example here I define choose A2, and then I define red, blue, yellow, white, black and green 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I have 6 values. If A2 is 1 is red, if it's 2 is blue, and so on. And you can see here, because here A4 is 3, then is yellow. And of course if I put something like a 7 here, because 7 is not defined, then simply it does not bring you any value. This is called choose. And then we have an option match. Excuse me. The match option is different. So you will say that match Jack, the name Jack, from F2 to F7. So anywhere you see F2 to F7 Jack, tell me what row the Jack is. In this particular case, Jack is in the first row. Susan, obviously in the second row. And I want to show Julian, I write here a match equal to match Julian, comma, from here to here, and the answer is 5. Julian is in 5th. So this is how we use match. Sometimes it comes handy anyway. Yeah, let's go to a couple of more advanced function. So we don't want to spend too much time. One of the interesting functions in Excel is called solver. So you can solve in Excel, and you can minimize or maximize or optimize a sets of criteria in order to get a value. And this is interesting in Excel. By the way, if you are in data and you don't see the solver or data analysis, you have to activate that. Depends on what Excel you are, like is it 2002, 2010 or above that. So you go here, always you go to option and you go to adds in, and then here you can find the function that you want to add in. So you go to any of these functions that you need, and then you can simply put it there. In this particular case, I've already selected the data analysis tool pack as well as the solver adds in. You can also do the same thing. Since we are in the same topic, you can go to customize, and then we have popular or all the command. And for example, since you are here, if you're following me, go down all the way to S as in Sam, and there we go. Bring all these speak cell stop, speak cell by column, by row, and so on. You add into it as I did here, and if you do that correctly, then it brings you this on the top here. Let me go a little closer. You have these values here. So this one, and then this is speak or stop speak, and then from row to column will be the other way around. So now let's talk about this optimization. I've designed this question particularly to show you how we can use a solver. Uh, Assuming that you want to arrange and export events, you have people who want to watch these events. There are 4,000 people, and they want to travel 3,000, let's say, miles, for example. And here is the price of the gas per gallon, pretty high. And then the choices are you can rent minivans or full-size van or minibus or bus or double decker. So, and each of them, this is the amount of the number of the passengers that can be there. So this is the fuel consumption mile per gallon. This is the average speed, the average, the driver's wage, dollar per hour. And this company that perhaps you can rent them out has these numbers, these many of each. So your objective is to define how many of which one you have to get in order to minimize the cost. And of course the cost here, for example, for each of the minivan, so minivan 3,000 kilometers, so the minimum average speed is 110, then you know how many hours you have to drive to get to your destination, multiply by hourly wage of the driver, how much costs the fuel, and this is the total value. So for each of them I did that here. Okay, and then let's go here, and the number of the people, of course, there are 4,000, but we have to be careful because the number of the people here so is the sum product of, so sum products of here, these numbers here, which is the number of each of these minivans or full size and so on, multiply by the capacity. So for example, if I have 117 minivan multiplied by 6, then I have that many people can be accommodated in minivan, so as 50 multiplied by 12 and 40 multiplied by here. Let me just delete them actually here, make it 0. So in this case, but still this is correct. The sum product of whatever is here multiplied by here plus here multiplied by here. This is the meaning of the sum product. It means you have two arrays and then you multiply first by first plus second by second plus third by third and so on. So now let's go to the solver and see what I want to do in the solver. So in the solver, assuming I want to, this is, and let me go back here also, the cost, by the way, so the cost is again the sum product of the number of these vehicles multiplied by total cost. So it would be sum products of J18 to J22 by the cost, which is E18 to E22. So in this case part is 0 because that means that so far we don't know how many of these we need. 0 means there is no one is going to come with no vehicle. But let's just start to do the solving. I want to minimize the cost here and go to minimize the cost, and I want to do that by changing the number of the vehicle I have. Okay, but of course now I have to add some criteria. The first criteria I add here is this value, which is the number of the people, has to be equal to my 4,000 people, because I want everyone to be transported. That's one. Add another one. Of course, these numbers should be smaller or equal to the available number of rentable transportation. So therefore, you cannot say get 141 minivan because there are only 140 available. Okay. And of course, in this particular case, I have to add one more, and that is this value cannot be negative. So all of them are positive. So it has to be smaller, larger or equal to 0. Add them here. Okay. So as you can see, we have these values here. And as soon as I press solve, it gives me these values here. And moreover, I can only even go here and I can save the scenario. I call it maybe ray 1. And you see that here, this gives me the entire scenarios, and that's very, very interesting. You can give me all the cost per person, for, everything that you can get here. And of course, I could have chosen more information. Now, what if I want to maximize the cost? I don't know why I should do, but anyway, logically it's not possible. But when I go here now, in this case, so I go here and I do the solver. In this particular case, I choose this cell to be maximized. I have to delete all of them, make new sets of, okay. And okay, so I want to change this cell. This is for maximizing, and I want to add. So my add is this again, smaller or equal to this. Okay, add. These ones are larger or equal to 0. Add. And finally, I have to mention that this value, it has to be equal to the number of the passenger. Add. And let's go to solve. And in this particular case, I just keep that, but I don't need any other ones. You can see that it says that if you want to maximize, and that's kind of interesting result, then maximize the cost, then you use a vehicle which you can accommodate less people, which is minivan. Maximum number of the minivans increase the cost, and this is exactly what you see here. So you maximize the number of the minivan, and by that the cost is going to be increased. And of course you can see that the cost here is this much, and the cost for maximum here, and the difference is about $12,000. So this is a very good example to show you how to use and minimize and maximize. There are a couple of others options I would like to maybe talk here. One of them, maybe I go here, it's called filtering, and I briefly go through this one. Let's see what we have in exercise. So we have customers, name of the customer, and this is the spending. I can simply go here and I can select them, and I can say, okay, select them. You go to sort, select the customers, and you go from Z to E, Z to A, and you can see that it changes. Go here again to sort, A to Z, go back again. Now I want to go and I want to sort them, and then I want to add another level, and in this level I want to sort by cost as well, and in this case I go from the smallest to the largest. And pay attention to here. So Alice spent in two occasions. If I press this one here, it simply changes the position of these two. They're smaller. First sort Alice, but we have two spendings for Alice. One is 10 and one is 70 and it's sorted here. Moreover, I can go here and I can use a subtotal, and I can say subtotal of spending and the customers, and I say okay. So you see, this is interesting. It gives me this kind of tree, and you can see for Alex, for Alice, so we have these two here is separated. If you want to only see, for example, the Alice, so we can close the other ones here. Actually, this one too, and open the Alice, and it shows you here. If you want to see how much each person spent here, you can do that as well. Okay, and so this is, if you want to show the filtering, these are all the filters here. You can remove them if you want, and eventually if you want to go to subtotal, you want to remove all, just simply remove all the values here. And again, if you want to get rid of these values here, then you go and you say no filter. One more thing here I'll show you, that's advanced filtering. And what I did actually here in this two rows, I wrote here customers, exact same name, as well as spending, and I have here customers equal to, and I can see here equal to, start with A, anything start with A, and then I put asterisk or star, it means anything else can be. And then here I wrote here the value over $50. So if I go and I select here, here, go to advanced, so you can see here I select here, and my criteria is here, and I say, and the location to copy, let's just copy it to here. So this is what it did. So it goes, any of them start with A, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 occasions, but in these 6 occasions only 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are above $50. You sort them out here. So if I write them both like this, it actually brings it. And then maybe I can write here also, just go here, spending, and then I write here $80. See if this is working now. So I add one more criteria here, and I say here, so let's go to sort here, advanced, this is correct, and the criteria is here, and the location to be copied here, yeah, that's right. And you see, by adding this, now I reduce that, so it says anything start with A, larger than 50, smaller or equal to 80, and then you can see you have less here. I can keep adding into the criteria. If they're in the same row, different column, it means and. But how about I go here, go to advanced, and in this case this is correct. The criteria, I use this one here, and I'm in 2 different rows. So either the customer's name starts with C, or the value is above $100, and copy that to the same position, and you see now the result is different. So either start with C, which is crisp, both of them, or is more than 100, which is equal or more than 100, which is Arsha and Frank. So this is how we have. I can add one more here, equal to, I write here A asterisk, and equal to let me see here. Oh yeah, so it has to have this. Let's put it here. Let's see here. This one. I put here A. So is equal to this value. And now the next, what I do here, I go to advance, and this is correct. Now my criteria, I add more. And by the way, I should maybe write here. Just go here. This is equal to customer 2. So let's start again. I'm just thinking more advanced. So here, and the criteria is here. And I want to copy it to the same location. And you can see now it works. So it says everything that starts with C or A, and or is more than 100. So you can see we have all the C, all the A, and frank is because it's satisfying this particular criteria. I think this is as far as in terms of the spreadsheet concerns. Oh, I forgot to tell you one thing also. Excel sometimes, this is interesting. When you are connecting, for example, have a data acquisition system, you select lots of data, and then you want to perhaps write them down, or someone has to read it for you. You have to write it down. So you need two people. So someone reads it and you write it, or the other way around. In this case, Excel actually can be replaced by one of the person that does the job. So Excel can actually read for you what you have here. Give me an example here. So I select here this set here, and I have here speak to cell, and I don't know whether you can hear or not, but it does actually read that. So let me stop this here and go here and read. And you can see it reads it. Again, I'm not sure it's reading anything I connected to the microphone, but it does actually read that. Or even if you type a text here, it does read the text for you. All you have to do, you have to activate that by bringing it to the go to option and bring it to the tool menu. Now, I would like to spend a few minutes also to deal with some kind of graph functionality in Excel. What we have here is we have the category of students, number of the students, and the budget. And I want to plot this. So I go here, select first two. You go to insert, you go to column, and you see you use the column here. I think I should use actually different graph. Let's go here. Delete this. You go to insert, and you do just a normal chart here. Yeah, like this. So number of the students, you can see that, and this is the category. What if I want to add another column into it? So you should go here, you go and right click, you go copy, then you go here, right click and paste. Well, of course I pasted, but the problem is now you can see this category because it's much higher, like compared with the numbers. So the other one is overshadowed by the high amount of the budget. And then in order to overcome this problem, you go and you right click here, and then you go to format sheet, and then you go add the secondary axes, and you can see now it's perfect. So now you have two axes here, one represent, this side represent the number of the students, this side represent the budget. So we can also have pie charts in Excel, or you can have it this way. Actually, I have it. Let's go down here. So how do you do the pie chart? Let me delete both of them. So for a pie chart, so you select here, and then you simply go insert, and you go to pie chart, and you go to 3D, and here it does. Again, you go here and you go right click and you go to format. You can do many things here, but if you want to add the data, you can simply add the data as here. There's another way of doing. You can go select here. Sometimes you want to use this feature here. So this feature, what it does, let me go here and I add data here. So this simply shows the last two, which is the senior and grad students, are one category, and add together they are exactly 1400 for this year, and it breaks it down in this way. So the rest of them are these, and these two are the last two categories. I have here another one, so you can maybe select them all here if you want, and then simply go here, insert, and then use different columns. So you have here, and these are for, of course, two sets, series 1, series 2. You can simply change this as well. You go to select data here, and you go here and edit, and I write here 2001, and this one I write here 2007, and you can see I changed. So this is simply, you can do lots of stuff. You should go and explore it yourself. But one of the most important part of Excel is Excel can actually extrapolate, and that's kind of interesting. I have an example here. It's not very scientific or realistic, but what I have here is the students' number of the hours they study and the total or the test score. And I want to see if there's any correlation here. Of course, this is very humanly example. There's no logical relation. Something study few hours and the ace of something study 20 hours and still have problems. But let's see. So in this particular case, I simply go and plot this. So I select here and I go insert, scatter, and plot. And this is my plot here. The next thing I want to know if there is any correlation in general. So I go select here, right click, and it says add trend line. And now this is interesting. Adding trend line depends on what kind of trend line you want to add. Is it linear? Is it exponential? Is it logarithm, a polynomial, or so on? And if I put linear, as it did here, and I go and I add these two. I want to see what is the accuracy here. You can see here in this particular case, the accuracy, which is the root square, is about 74%. Maybe not very accurate. Now, what if I want to have another trend line? In this case, I go to polynomial, and again, always I add these two. So you see, it's 80-some%. But also I can go simply here and add trend line, and in this case polynomial I increase maybe to the 6th degree, and let's see if I go down here to 5th or maybe 6th. Yeah, it won't matter. So, and then now you can see that in this case here, maybe 5th is the best. By having this polynomial with the 5th degree, you can see I have, maybe I delete these guys here. So delete this and delete this. You can see this polynomial. It gives me up to 93.93% accuracy. And this is a very handy feature in Excel. So if you get some data and then you want to know how do they perhaps match and how far you are, you can use different function to define and find a relation between these values, and then of course you can have the error. And finally, last but not least, I have another good example here. I can go here, and this is my last perhaps topic we discussed today. This is also very common. Sometimes you collect data, and these data are for different samples. In this particular case, we measure the resistance of a circuit. You do it, let's say, in this particular case, 30 times, and each time you get something different. So this is, of course, either you have an error in the system, or actually the resistance is variable in each time you measure. Now the question is, how can I find a histogram of this data acquisition? What I did basically, first of all, I went there and I find the maximum and minimum, standard deviation, median, average, and range. So now what I did here, in terms of the range, when you have this, you want to plot this histogram, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I want to have 7 categories or 7 perhaps ranges for my histogram, so what you do is simply you go kind of rule of thumb. You find maximum, you find minimum, you do maximum minus minimum divided by 7 minus 2. Why minus 2? Because you have 1 on top and 1 on bottom, so you want to have 7 categories, then you need only 5 ranges. So in this case here, I roughly got a 20, and what I do here from minimum, my minimum is, so I got it from here, so 220 to 240 become 1, 240 to 2, sorry, 920 to 940 become 1, 940 to 960 become 2, and here, also maybe delete this here, just to be a little more clear. Okay, I delete this one as well. So I have 940, 960, 980, 1000, 20, 1000, 1000, 20,000, 40,000, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 7 categories I have. And my range was roughly about 20. So I did maximum minus minimum divided by 5, and then it gives me this range. Now what I do is, I go to data analysis, histogram, and again you brought this data analysis, going to option, and you add it. And in histogram, input range is here. The bin range is here. And output range, just put it here, anywhere. And you want to also plot the chart. And you can see simply what I have here is the histogram. Maybe I can make it a little bigger. So I can see that for this particular example I have, so I have 3 between less than 960, and then I have between 960 to 980 I have 8, and then I have 7 between 9, and maybe the easier way is to show you. I go and I sort these ones. I sort them here and go to data, and here I already sort them. and I go from smallest to largest. So you can see here for the one that says 1000, between 1000 to 1020, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, more than 1000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see, it seems something is not working here. Let me go back to here. See what I did wrong, perhaps. One more plot. Okay. This is exactly what it did here. So from 9, this has to be 980 here. Okay. And okay, let's bring this one back here. This is what exactly I did, I believe. So you go to data analysis, to histogram. The range is correct, and this one is here. Okay. And where do you want to put it here? I'll put it here. And add the chart. Yeah, something is a little different than the one I have here. So I am not sure what is missing here. So this is the correct one here I did, and we have less than, and if I sort these things here, it shows simply continue. So from smallest to largest, so you can see there is only one below 940, and then between 940 to 960 there are 3. So this is correct. However, this doesn't represent that here. Let's do 970 here. Let's try it again. Okay, so you go from, this is my range, and this is my here, and I put this one here, maybe put this one here, this location, and plot the chart. I don't even need to plot, I just want to see. Instead, I think what it does here, it calculates total number. Yes, total number below 9, above 940, which is correct, and then between 940 to 960, and that's correct. From 970 to 1000, and from 1000 to 1020, so you go here from 1000 to 1021, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's correct. There are 9 of them here. And then the next one is, yes, from 1020 to 1040, there's only 1, which is 1023. No, that's correct. So that's how you can do the histogram and actually plot it for you. If you want to plot that, and I go here to 980, for example. So do it one more time. Here you go to data, you go to histogram, and this is the range. This is correct. And then even you want to have the chart, and you want to output in this location. This is there, yeah. And here what you have. So this is the total value of what we have here. So in total we have this is the number, but this histogram is correct. So we have these values here, and the more is 0. So this actually perhaps conclude our over 1 hour workshop. You can practice them by yourself. They are much more than that. There was a function actually I wanted to show you, but you can explore it yourself. This function is for banking or mortgage. It's called PMT. Simply you can go and explore it. It's not used as much as other functions here, but you can calculate how much if you have a mortgage and how much down payment you put and what is the term, the length of your mortgage and interest rate. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much. Have a good day.